What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Hot Take. Today we're in a 2008 BMW M5 E60 chassis, the one with the V10, the bastard child of M5s. This is Mason.
How's it going, yo?
This is his car. He runs the GVSU, Grand Valley State University. Yeah. Instagram and Car Club. Go give that a follow after you're done watching this video. Mason, tell us a little about this car.
Well, I got it about a year ago from a family friend. He gave me a pretty good deal on it, so I couldn't really pass it up. I just there was a bunch of stuff on it that I had to take off, like some stickers and stuff like that. But other than that, it's just been my daily driver for a while, and it's a good cruiser, but it can tear up some back roads, so it's a lot of fun. I'm pretty lucky.
Well, that's what we like to hear. We also have Steven in the back. He just drove this car. It's also his first time driving E60 M5. But let's go ahead and hop on the road and see how she rips. Neutral. Oh, I'm such a noob.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
So we're starting it in drive, letting it, oh, you do not want to do that.
Nope.
At all. So how do I go to the, oh, did I just do it just by hitting the paddle?
Yeah, I mean, that works. You can also just click it over on here.
Oh, right, so if you hit one or these, then it engages manual mode.
And if you want to turn up the aggressiveness
of the shifts,
then you can press this if you want that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see. You get a little. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, all right. That's pretty good.
I mean,
does the steering wheel adjust?
It all the way up, and then in M mode, then you get, if you turn the traction control off, then you get the sixth one.
Oh, I see. Okay. Then it allows you to have the whole. Right, turns traction off and everything. So initial impressions over those bumps, it was really supple. I mean, it makes sense because it's a 5 Series, but what is this normal mode right now, technically?
Yep. Well, comfort. So there's comfort, normal, and sport, and then in M mode, I just have everything set to the most aggressive.
Okay.
So it'll be in sport for EDC.
Right. So the horsepower on these. Is this the 400 horsepower mode right now, or is this a 500?
Yeah,
okay.
This is 400, and then if you press the M button, that takes it into power sport, which just makes the throttle a little bit more responsive.
Okay.
But yeah, then it's 500.
Then you have your full power amount.
All the beans.
Right.
If you let off the accelerator, yeah, just a tad.
The delay.
Yep.
Okay.
Then it's not so jerky.
So so let off, which is interesting. So on Steven's E46 M3, now you have the CSL tune on yours. Yeah. When you hit the paddle, you want to keep your foot in it, because if you don't, then it gets really jerky.
Oh,
but on this, you have to let off.
Yeah, just for smoothness. I've just gotten used to it when I have passengers.
Right, that makes sense. Oh, there's the seats. The seats holding me in.
Yep. That also makes for a pretty fun prank on people.
I'll turn it on, don't tell them.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, why is the seat hugging me?
This thing feels pretty planted. I mean, we're not really throwing it into this turn, but the steering wheel it's a really good weight. And the whole car just feels very predictable. You know where it's going to be at. Even though it's a big car, I don't feel a lot of body roll in this, honestly.
There's not too much, especially with the EDC and Sport. That cuts it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of body roll, but no, not bad at all. And then does blipping the throttle when you hit the paddle help it downshift at all?
It just auto blips.
No, you want to let it. Okay. You can hear the grumble of the V10. So quiet when you have the windows up.
Right. It's got decent intake noise though, which is fun.
It does. smokes, we were flying. This car is fast.
That's the thing, is like you can
Don't
go fast
think so.
and it doesn't feel like it, which
Wow.
is troublesome occasionally.
Yeah, very troublesome. Oh my lord. It's weird how I would have expected the downshifts to be quicker, but they're not. It really takes a second.
Yeah, man, the SMG is pretty rough.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a tune for this SMG.
I'm sure there is. Steven, do you know?
Probably?
I don't know. I would guess.
Because, so this is SMG 3, E46 M3 SMG is SMG 2. That car, SMG, and how it operated was so much quicker and more snappy than this. This kind of feels a lot like a factory car. And I feel like it's slipping the clutch a lot to kind of create a smoother shift at the expense of performance, quickness.
No, in the lower shift levels, it's unbearable how slow it is.
Like, it's really bad. Can I try it real quick?
Yeah, no, go for it.
Okay.
But
So
it's like horrendous. Mostly upshifts, like at slow speeds.
wow.
Yeah.
It's not good there, but I can imagine around town that would be really sluggish and it would
It's-
kind of mess with you.
And just like that's hard on the clutch. Like,
Right.
you know, I would rather just
Deal
in
with
and out
the.
as fast as it can be.
Right, have it do. Don't make it slip the clutch more than it has to.
Right. Yeah.
Brakes are really good.
Mhm.
That was about half into the pedal, and it still felt like there was a lot more to give.
Right.
Which is something I've read online people complain about with these cars, that the brakes aren't that good. I wonder if the people that say that, well, one, it might be at the track, so they might be cooking them, but also it might be people who are trying to stop from 200 miles an hour. Because let's face it, that's what people do in these cars.
Right.
But like a regular highway speeds to braking was really good there.
And when you passed him too, like, you know, you weren't even in M mode. So you
No,
still
that was
got
400.
100 more horsepower to play with.
Yeah, how do you engage M mode?
Press the M button on the steering wheel.
Right there. Oh, it
Yes,
says
sir.
it. It's funny they didn't go for the motorsport. Oh wow.
You feel how it comes alive?
Immediately, throttle response is like way better.
Yeah.
So now let's hit the. Oh, that was much quicker. Wow.
Yeah, that
Oh,
sixth
throttle
level
response.
is
Yep.
really nice.
Holy smokes.
Oh my god.
It just throws you right
never
back
get
into your
used to that,
seat.
bro. You never get used to that.
Very swift transfer of power there. Wow, that is fast. That is so amazing. I've been waiting so many years to do that in one of these cars. That is such a great feeling. So much power up there at 8,000, 500 horsepower. Is it even dead on 500 or is it like 505?
I think it's 507 stock. Mine is probably like right at 500 if I'm lucky.
Yeah, lost horsepower over the years.
Right.
So this does have, we forgot to mention earlier, this has a Megan Racing Supremo exhaust.
Yep.
Is that just a rear section like a catback?
Yeah, with a secondary cat delete, which doesn't do a ton, but you know, it's still something.
Right. Those seats hug you really nicely.
Yeah.
Slow down for him. This car is not the size for these roads.
No.
It's a Autobahn burner for sure.
Yep.
Wow, very touchy. So what's interesting is when it really threw you back in the seat, that was when I was all the way up at like 8,000.
Yeah.
When I did it there, I stopped at like 7 and the shift was a lot smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Does it shift harder when you go right to the red line?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Is that like a coded thing in the computer, or is it just like because there's so much power and
I think that might be
RPM?
a coded thing. I'm not 100% sure.
BMW coded the transmission to encourage you to redline it.
Probably.
That would
yeah.
be funny. going over these bumps, it doesn't really have a lot of, it has some suspension travel obviously, but it doesn't really like, it doesn't settle into itself a lot. It's very predictable the entire time.
Yeah, it feels pretty planted on back roads. Some like city stuff where there's just potholes every mile, like
Yeah.
it's just full of them. You know, that's not as smooth.
Right. No, this is a perfect balance, and it's so quiet too. I mean, the wind noise, there's a little bit, but it's very deadened. And the induction sounds really good. You do get a good induction sound. The exhaust, I haven't driven a stock one, but it doesn't really, I don't know, it's pretty quiet. Did the stock one's even quieter than this? Or do you really only hear the exhaust with the window down?
No, I mean, stock is quieter for sure. But yeah, you can't hear it too much with the windows up. Like, there was one time when I was behind it in my Miata, so like top down, obviously, and like the person in front of me didn't even take it above 5, and I was just having a grand old time because it sounded so good.
Oh yeah? Here, we'll crack it a little bit. I'm just gonna crack these, try to get some exhaust sound. Yeah, I definitely hear it more. And this was a worst case scenario right here. The Amazon truck. Those brakes are really good. I'm gonna roll this back up. Wow. Oh, thank you. Right at 40, it just like the slightest hum of the V10, just letting you know that there's a lot more waiting for you if you put your foot down. The throttle pedal is really weird. It doesn't feel very linear. I don't know why, but it feels like when I hit the bottom of the pedal, it almost feels like I'm at the first 90% of the pedal is like is ranging between 2/3 of your actual throttle. So when you push it that last 10% down, it feels like you get like a lot more than is proportionate to the amount extra you're pushing it down. That's a weird feeling. I can imagine that's part of why. I remember I heard regular car reviews saying that on E92 335 that he did a video with a long time ago. And I almost wonder if that's just the gas pedals the BMWs have from this era.
Yeah, it could be.
So you said you weren't really a big BMW guy before you had this car?
I just didn't know too much. Like, I was still kind of just focused on the Miata.
Yeah.
I was like really hardcore into the whole Miata world in that community.
Right.
But then, you know, he let me drive it over the summer, and I was like, oh, dude, I love this car. And so we started talking about it, and he was like, maybe I'll give it to you later, you know, as a graduation gift. And then he crashed his car early, and so he was like, well, I can't quite give it to you, but damn close.
Right. Got a good price on it? Well, what a great car to buy for not a lot of money. I mean, there aren't really a lot of mods you need to do to one of these cars to make it good. I mean, I could see intake exhaust if you really wanted to, and maybe some lowering springs or like not very aggressive coilovers if you just want to lower it, make it look better. But it already handles really well. It already sounds really good with just the rear section exhaust on it. There's not really a lot you need to do to one of these cars to make it good. You already have the engine, you already have a really good body. It's just a very, very complete package. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holy smokes. If you want to rev out an S85 and an E60 M5, you have to be ready for the power.
I think it holds up pretty well, you know, versus modern cars.
Oh yeah, it holds up to modern cars really well. I have no problem believing that this car will do 200, and not only do 200, but not make you feel like you're gonna die at 200, which is the bigger feat. You really feel it at $6,000. It starts to pull a lot stronger than it did before. Wow. It just revs the moon and it continues to just tell you to go and go all the way to the top. Very potent engine, very potent and complete car. We've now finished our test drive of the E60 M5, and honestly, it was everything I thought it would be. I did kind of go into this car with high expectations because of what everyone says online. They say never meet your heroes. This is not one of those cases. If you're looking for the raw feel of an older BMW, it's not there, but it feels just as comfortable and smooth as the modern cars, and you just get a much, in my opinion, cooler engine. You get the V10. There's a reason that these are so infamous in the BMW world. It's just, there's just nothing like it at all. Thank you, Mason, for coming on to the channel. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the camera?
I mean, if you're looking at one, honestly, if you're looking at whatever your car is, like whatever you're passionate about, just go for it. You know, it's worth it in the end.
Alrighty, with that, let's give it a score. Utility. The E60 M5 is supple and insulated from the outside world. Pretty close to modern 5 and 7 series levels, even 15 years later. There's plenty of backseat room and trunk space. You can fit 4 bags of golf clubs in this car and 4 passengers comfortably. Needless to say, it gets an 8 out of 10. Features. Materials are great. Leather everywhere and minimal mid-2000s cheap plastic. There's a lot of features as well. Heated seats front and back, adaptive seat bolsters, an active heads-up display, and an oil temp gauge, which you will need in this car. I complain about the F10 528 not having a tach in the heads-up display, and wonder even more why it doesn't have one since the older one does. Maybe because it's an M car, but regardless, it is a nice touch. The fallback for this car is the early iDrive system. It's clunky and not intuitive by modern standards. It was cutting edge in its day, but now it's a hindrance more than anything. It gets a 7 out of 10. MPG. Who cares? It gets a 2 out of 10. Cool factor. The E60 M5 is an icon. V10, 4 doors, and optional 3 pedals. The styling was a sore spot for this car for many years, but it started to age pretty well. This is pretty close to as cool as they come. It gets an 8 out of 10. Driver's feedback. The pedal inputs were okay, and the steering feedback was good for a car of its size. The SMG transmission was a bit sluggish, with the exception of M mode, where it hammers the chassis. Very different from the modern-day ZF 8 speeds and dual-clutch transmissions we have become accustomed to. I never thought I'd say this, but compared to a new car, I think this car actually does feel pretty mechanical. It gets a 4 out of 10. Acceleration. The E60 M5 does 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds with the SMG transmission. Normally it would get a 7 out of 10, but the power just keeps climbing and climbing all the way to triple-digit speeds. And with a de-restricted top speed of 205 miles per hour, this is the fastest M5 ever produced. It gets a 7.5 out of 10. Should you buy it? This is a bit of a sore spot for this car, and actually the reason this category was created. They are cheap, yes, but they have a tendency to blow up and become a very expensive rolling shell. And if they don't blow up, they're expensive to keep running. There's a long list of preventative maintenance items like the rod bearings, Vanos, SMG pump, Vanos pump, etc., etc. Not to mention your ignition service costs a small fortune, and the suspension systems are complicated. The cars are pretty finicky when you drive them hard over lots of miles. It gets a 4 out of 15, putting it here on our list. Surprisingly, it scores lower than all the M3s we have driven. The E60 M5 is very special, and probably something that will never exist again. But compared to any of the M3s, the difficulty of ownership is the big killer. This is one of the instances where the should you buy it category decided this car's fate. I would have scored this car even lower on this category, but it's hard to argue with a high revving V10. If you let the car get up to operating temperature, you change the fluids sooner than you would on most cars, and you're dedicated enough, knowing all the pitfalls going in, this car is possible to own. Just make sure you have your pocketbook ready.